Spending 3 months with the 3 most awesome cats in paradise was so awesome. This trusted house sitter's job was the best so far we got. And it was the first place where Paul and I could actually imagine to live for a longer period of time, meaning years, not just months. We were ready to continue our adventures and leave for Penang, Malaysia. But it was so hard to leave those cats. During that time staying in Thailand, unfortunately, I also had quite some health issues, and the cats were just so awesome. They were such a big help. Here is the video about the cats. A day before our departure, I texted Karen, our host, hey, in the future, if you ever need someone again to take care of everything, text us. We would love to come back. And her response, wow, her response was that they leave for the US every year, and if you're serious about that, we can talk. How cool would that be if next year we would go back there again? That would be so cool. We stayed there from March until May 2025. And even next year, so that time frame 2026, we are still planning to stay in that part of the world. And even, hey, if we'll be in South America or back in the States or somewhere in Europe or wherever for 3 months, it actually would be totally worth it to fly back to Thailand to take care of those awesome cats living in that awesome place in paradise. Who knows, maybe we can do that more often. So on Friday, May 30th, 2025, Paul woke me up at 6:15 a.m. and we got ready and packed the rest of our stuff together and we got ready to leave. Suddenly, Na came in. Na is the housekeeper and she usually showed up every Wednesday around 11 o'clock or so, and she changed the bedding, washed the bedding, and cleaned the house, and she was also taking care of the garden. Well, she probably still does. Karen and Mark, our hosts, said Na wouldn't show up on the last Wednesday when we were still there, but she will then come on that week, on Saturday after we left. Well, yeah, makes sense. But on Wednesday, so in the morning, we just quickly, I remember we took the car and went to the grocery store and quickly went away to buy something. And when we came back, all our bedding was gone. So Na came over and started washing it. So I think she forgot. So when I saw her with a lot of help with Google Translate, I tried to make her understand she didn't need to clean the rest of it. I mean, yeah, she took the bedding off, so of course she put new ones on, but she didn't have to clean the rest of the house and stuff. And we would leave on Friday morning, and I think Martin Karen wants her to come over on Friday after we leave, or on Saturday. So I tried with Google Translate to make her understand. I don't really know if she understood it. So she did show up on Friday morning when we were getting ready to leave, and she came in and gave me a hug right away. Super cute. Oscar, who became our awesome regular driver, showed up at 6:35 a.m. I think we said we want to leave at 7 a.m. Yeah, it's totally normal that when you order a Grab driver even, or a driver, that they show up 15 minutes too early or even more than 15 minutes, and then they just wait in a car. So that's totally normal in Thailand. We didn't let the cats out right away like we usually did in the morning, so we could say our goodbyes. And like usual, the last night, they all spent sleeping on my bed. And oh my gosh, I still miss them so much. Now it's August, we left May 30th, and I still miss them. So, but hey, maybe I'll get to see them again next year. It took us a bit over an hour to get from Mae Rim to the airport in Chiang Mai. We actually wanted to leave at 8 a.m. First, we got the flight at 12, so a lot of time. But Oscar, our driver, asked us if he could pick us up at 7 instead of 8, because after he takes us to the airport, he wanted to go to his wife's family up in the mountains, and that's a long drive away. We said, yeah, no problem, because we like to be early anyways, super early, because you never know at the airport. And traffic was actually really bad at that time. Many people went to work, many school buses, many went to school, so there was lots of traffic, so it was good we left that early. So we arrived at the airport, we went inside, and fuck, I was freezing. Not just cold, I was freezing. So I got out my second jacket from my luggage and put that on. I even put Paul's jacket on as well. And when we were standing in line, I was like kind of jumping up and down to keep my legs warm. It was so freezing in that airport. And also, usually when I didn't eat anything yet, I'm much more colder than after I ate something. And of course, so early in the, not of course, but for me, of course, so early in the morning, I didn't eat anything yet. Oh, how I hate flying. I used to love it when I was a kid, and then my anxiety about everything and anything started. But now I don't hate flying because of anxiety reasons. I hate flying because of those fucked up restrictions. And it gets worse and worse. Each year it gets worse. Almost each month. The day before our move, Paul told me he paid an extra $158.32, so we got more weight allowance because we're, of course, always overweight because the restrictions are so fucking crazy. We arrived at the airport and we got the twins, the 2 carry-on bags. We got those wrapped up together for 500 Thai baht, $15.35. And then we got into the check-in bag lane. So we were thinking we have a fat boy as check-in bag number 1 and the 2 carry-ons that we got wrapped up together as the check-in bag number 2. We got that idea to let the carry-ons wrapped up because for another flight, I don't remember, I think Thailand to Hong Kong or something, the girl behind the counter actually told us we should do that. She advised us to do that. So that's why we did that. We were only allowed 1 check-in bag for 30 kilos, but we had those 2. And 2 carry-ons of each 7 kilograms. That's what we were allowed. So, but we paid overweight, right? The lady behind the counter, she said she didn't see that we paid for the overweight. And Paul told me that it wouldn't make any difference to show them on his cell phone, you know, the bank app where it shows that we got charged for the overweight. So we really paid because he didn't have the he never got a confirmation. Yeah, usually he always saves the confirmations, you know, the email, and then he can show that. But he said he never got one. So I told him, hey, show her your bank account, and it says the money it's been deducted. And he said, oh, there's no point of that. That's not good. They don't care about that. So to pay the extra weight would have cost 6,600 Thai baht, $202.61. So Paul asked the lady, what else can we do? So even though later in the plane I wrote everything down, I wrote it in my notes what happened, I kind of got confused, and I don't remember exactly what happened. So I don't really remember what happened next, but the lady behind the counter must have told us to do something and then come back. But I don't remember what. But for sure, I remember we were standing in line and we decided to separate the twins. So we were standing in line and Paul was separating the twins with that cutter thingy they attached on top of the wrapped bags. So they secured one of those cutter thingies there, kind of cool. So you can just take that, free that up and start cutting. So we did that while we were standing in line. I remember that. Back at the counter, another woman, so she told us both our carry-ons are way too heavy. We should try to put each 4 kilograms or altogether 4 kilograms. I think altogether 4 kilograms into the check-in bag, into Fat Boy. Fat Boy was under 30 kilograms, so we were still allowed to put more weight into Fat Boy. Okay, we got out of the lane again and we went back to the wrapping station because right next to it there was a scale, and we already used it 3 times at the very beginning when we got to the airport to check all our bags, well, just the suitcases, how heavy they were. So for the scale, each time you pay 10 Thai baht, what is 30 cents. So I packed a lot of stuff into Fat Boy, the check-in bag, until it was like 30.2 or 30.5 kilograms. I don't remember. Then we did what we did when we started this Nomad Life. We shoved a shit ton of stuff in our jacket pockets and our backpacks and just like heavy stuff, you know, you put in your pockets. And yeah, our jackets were so full and heavy. Yeah, so we did that again. But I also took my little Kitchener, it's like a little backpack out, and shoved stuff in there. We just stuffed stuff everywhere we could. And I actually managed to get our carry-ons to 7 kilograms and 7.2 kilograms. Remember, you're allowed 7 kilograms. That's 15.43 pounds. That's fucking nothing. Our carry-ons are basically empty. That's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. They go down and down and down with the allowance of the kilograms. It's fucking insane. I was almost sweating doing all that stuff. Well, at least then I was finally warm. Remember when we got into the airport, I was freezing? Not a problem anymore. Well, okay, so we went back into line and we came in front of the counter again, and another woman. Check-in bag was good. Yes. The carry-ons also had the right weight. Yes. But you were only allowed to take 1 carry-on each into the cabin. So we had the twins, the 2 carry-ons, each a backpack, my meal bag, and my little Kitchener bag that only had empty bottles, plastic bottles in there at first, but then I had to shove a shit ton of stuff in there as well. So yeah, it used to be that you were allowed in the cabin each a carry-on and a backpack and a meal bag, your food, you know, but now it's 1 carry-on each, nothing else. I told her that we actually paid for overweight, but it doesn't show up on the computer. So she checked again the computer. Remember, this is the 3rd woman we went to, and she said, oh, no, it shows up that we paid for overweight. That's the 30 kilograms. So actually, we were only allowed 1 check-in bag for the 2 of us for 15 kilograms. Well, actually, they don't care how many bags you check in. They care about the kilograms. So we were allowed to check in 15 kilograms and 1 each a carry-on that has no more than 7 kilograms. So we were allowed to fly with 29 kilograms. That's fucking insane. And not just for us, we live a nomad life. That's basically all our things we have. We own, well, yeah, we have some stuff in a storage unit in Reno, Nevada, the USA. But yeah, we live off of our suitcases. But not just for us, also for other people or for vacation or... That's insane. And it used to be that each one was allowed to get a check-in bag for 25 kilograms, I remember. And then they reduced it to 20 kilograms each. And apparently now 15 kilograms for both of us? Yeah, insane. Well, so, okay, that $158.32 that he paid extra, Paul paid extra, that was just for an extra 15 kilograms. So that was the 30 kilograms allowance for the check-in bag, what he paid. Fuck, we were so screwed. We had so many more bags and so many more kilograms, but the woman actually made us a really good deal. So Paul had to pay 1,750 Thai baht at the airport extra. That's $53.62. And for 1 of our carry-ons to get checked in. And she said, yeah, because the plane is too full, so we could check in the 2nd carry-on for free. So, okay, the carry-ons were taken care of. So Paul has his backpack now, and that was his allowed 1 piece to bring into the cabin. So she asked if I could put my meal bag into one of the carry-ons. And no, my meal bag doesn't go anywhere. Yes, okay, it's only about a 1-hour flight to Bangkok, but the food needs to stay on me. You never know what's gonna happen. And food also helps me when I get, yeah, it's funny, when I get nauseous, food helps me to feel better, or when I get anxiety. So no, that can't be. But I told her, oh, I can shove my food bag into the Kitchener. So I started doing that. And then suddenly she said, the dog also counts as a carry-on. Well, she meant Mr. Top Sirloin, and he's a bear, but well, she couldn't see him clearly. He counts as a carry-on. He alone is 1 carry-on. What the fuck? I also already took Tabuk, here, this is Tabuk, this is Mr. Top Sirloin. So I think I took both of them out. Mr. Top Sirloin I was just carrying like this, and Tabuk, I think I took him out of the Kitchener to put my meal bag in. And she said they have to go into a check-in bag. And I said, I have anxiety. Can I please at least keep 1? I always fly with 1. I always have a stuffed animal with me. I also took 1 with me into the hospital when I got Gamma Knife treatment. Here is the video about that back in Istanbul, Turkey. So, but she just said, no, it counts as a carry-on. So both of the stuffed animals had to be put into a carry-on. I was close to tears, and shakingly, I could barely put in the code in the suitcase to be able to open the suitcase, but I managed to open it, and I put the stuffed animals in, closed it back up. But not being able to take a stuffed animal with you into the cabin, or well, you are permitted, but it counts as one fucking carry on, so you can't bring anything else. That's just fucking cruel. That's just insane. We always carry empty pillowcases with us, and I forgot to take those out. So next time I will shove Mr. Top Sirloin into one of the pillowcases, and then it's just a pillow. So I asked actually if a pillow is allowed, and she was kind of, I don't think she really answered my question. So I think a pillow is still allowed. But of course, if I do that in front of her, and I would have to, I don't remember where my pillowcase was, so I had to look for it, and yeah, so I have to do that beforehand. So from now on, when we fly, Mr. Top Sirloin gets into a pillowcase. Yeah, and I use him as a pillow when we travel all the time, like in cars, on the ferry, in airplanes. Yeah, so perfect. Well, I hope the next time that we fly won't come up that fast, because we are actually planning to do as much as possible by train and ferry, like what we've done here. We are actually in Indonesia right now. We went from Malaysia with the train to Singapore, and now with the ferry to Indonesia, and later on we will take the ferry and trains again to go back to Thailand. So what we actually also did in Europe, if possible, we don't fly. We take train. Buses are not that cool either, but train, buses, ferries are the best. But sooner or later, we have to get put in a sardine box. That means coach in an airplane. Sooner or later, we have to endure that again. And here, a little spoiler, I already know when that next time is, when we have to take a flight, because we got a trusted house sitter's job in Australia. Yeah, so exciting, for 3 months. So yeah, how do you get to Australia? With an airplane, and we are so super excited about it. But I'm not excited about the airplane. I don't care that much about the flying part, but well, you're in a sardine box. Yeah, that is not fun either, but especially the before part, like anyways, so all shaky, I managed to put my stuffed animals into the bag. We finished up there, and we started walking to passport control, and I suddenly started realizing that we still had Get Nam, black sheep, and Get Hau, white sheep. I don't know how to pronounce it, but black sheep and white sheep, they always called black sheep and white sheep, but always in the language of the country we are in. So here is black sheep. And oh yeah, by the way, when we were walking to passport control, I was carrying this one here, my one carry-on, but I also still had the Kitchener. This is the Kitchener. That's a store in Switzerland, by the way, and they have these bags they sell. So I don't know if still, but they were super popular in Switzerland, so I still have one. So I was also still having that one with my meal bag in it and other shit. So I had 2 carry-ons. Back to the Get Nam and Get Hau, I think. Well, black sheep and white sheep. So here is the black sheep. This one is on my backpack. And here, Get Hau is even bigger, is on Paul's backpack. I took it off because Paul's backpack is really big and it's there in the closet. I don't want to take it out. So I suddenly realized that we still have those. So I took that one off of Paul's backpack and was holding that one inside of Mr. Top Sirloin during the flight, and he was great, and sheeps to the rescue. So we went through passport control and luggage check, and oh no, what the fuck, a problem with Paul's backpack? What's happening now? Oh no, they just found the little cutter thingy that when we let the twins get wrapped, that they put on, and Paul used it to open it up, and he just still had it in his pocket or somewhere. So they just found that and threw it away. We got to the gate, waited, and boarded. The flight was barely an hour to Bangkok, from Chiang Mai to Bangkok. Not even an hour, I think. Well, so we got to Bangkok without any more issues. In Bangkok, unfortunately, we had to get our checked-in luggage and check it back in. Of course, we tried to get it shipped directly to Penang, Malaysia, but it didn't work. So we had to get our checked-in luggage. So we thought we were in a hurry to go with a bus from the plane to the domestic arrival terminal to get our checked-in luggage, to walk to the international terminal, to check in everything again, to go through passport control again, to go to the bathroom, to do all that. We thought we are in a hurry. Oh, and check in the luggage again. Fuck. Do we have to go through all that hassle again, what we just did in Chiang Mai? Of course, we left all our stickers on, as like, you know, that it was clear that we just came from a flight, so we already flew like this, so we left everything on. We walked to the check-in luggage counter again. We checked our stuff in without any problem, no problems at all. So I think all the stuff Paul paid extra in Chiang Mai, that counted for both flights, for the whole trip. Yeah, good thing was probably also the second flight, like also the first flight, was with Thai Asia. It was with the same group, the same airline. So that probably helped too. But then I'm asking, why, if it's the same airline, why can't they ship the luggage directly to the destination? Because sometimes that works, but not always, like we figured out. I think that flight from Bangkok departed a little bit late. And it took a bit over an hour from Bangkok to Penang, Malaysia. And everything went fine during the flight. For us, both those flights were so short. We are used to much longer flights, and everything went fine, except the guy behind Paul was snoring. And I fucking hate snoring. Well, yes, I'm very sensitive to all kinds of sounds, but there are certain sounds I'm like allergic to, that I can't stand. And yes, snoring is one of those sounds. Even just like tiny snore-like sounds, even that, I go crazy. So, oh my God, that guy wasn't just like a little bit, no, he was snoring loudly. So I put on my ear protectors, and unfortunately that wasn't enough. So underneath the ear protectors I had to put in headphones, and was watching a movie so I could listen to the movie sounds, and that one on top of it, and that kinda worked. So luckily the guy didn't snore for a very long time. Yeah, and now these ear protectors are always with me in this backpack when we travel, and it's not going in the overhead bin in the airplane. It stays with me. It's not going in the trunk in the car. It stays with me. Yeah, because I learned my lesson the hard way. So here is the video when we traveled from Istanbul to Fethiye. So I didn't have those with me, and I desperately needed them. So I learned my lesson. We arrived, we went through passport control. The guy there was super friendly. We got our checked-in luggage. We went to the bathroom, and shit, there was this machine and you had to put all your luggage through, and I still had a lot of food with me in my meal bag. I still had all the 5 hard-boiled eggs with me, and a lot of ground pork, and still some ground beef. So when I was pre-cooking, I knew that would be way too much for me to eat in one day. But I usually, when we travel on travel days, I eat so much more than usual. So I rather have too much and too little food. And it's also very helpful when we arrive in a new place and I still have some food for in the evening or even the next day. So we don't have to hassle right away to go shopping for Aline, because I'm on a very strict carnivore diet because of health reasons, and I can't just eat anything without risking it to getting seriously sick. So it's always good for me to have more than enough food with me during our travels. But so I was so worried, what about my food? Well, my little meal bag had to go through that big screening machine as well. And so it did. And so it came out on the other side. And no one said anything. So no problem. Great. So far, we never actually had any problems bringing my pre-cooked food into another country. My pre-cooked meat, and I never travel with pre-cooked fish or seafood, no. But meat, pork, beef, and hot-boiled eggs. But after the flight, once we got into the country, I don't think they they ever had those screening machines where you had to put your suitcases, all your bags, all your stuff through. Usually you just walk through customs, you know what I mean? And we never got a problem with that, and I thought we always just got away with it, because don't try that getting into the US. Don't try to bring any food, they're gonna lynch you. So while Paul got some Malaysian ringgit, I freed up Mr. Top Sirloin and Tabuk, and I put most of our stuff we shoved into our jacket pockets into the carry-ons, because the carry-ons were almost empty anyways, because you know, 7 kilos, it's like nothing. I mean, basically the suitcase itself weighs that much. We got a Grab. And so the airport is on Penang Island. Our Airbnb was on Penang, on the mainland, because it's much cheaper there. Penang Island is very touristic. So we took a Grab to get to the mainland. Oh, and we lost an hour. So Malaysia is 1 hour in advance of Thailand. So when we got into the Grab, it was already around 7:30 p.m. There was lots of traffic, and the Grab driver said Friday evening night is the worst. Then there is the most traffic. So it took quite a while to get to our Airbnb. But hell, I didn't fucking care at all, because I felt great, or I felt good. And I didn't have to lay down and close my eyes and say my mantra and just pray and so I wouldn't get more sick, because usually so many times when we were in cars, in vehicles, I got so fucking sick and nauseous and anxiety that it was just very brutal for me. So I didn't care at all that it took quite a while, because I felt good. Actually, the entire day, traveling day, I felt pretty good, except for in the morning I got a little bit of anxiety when we got picked up by Oscar, and he drove us to the airport in Chiang Mai. I had a little bit of anxiety to deal with, but it wasn't that bad, and other than that I was doing pretty good, and I could keep up with Paul. I had energy, I could walk. The CFS also wasn't active, or I didn't feel it, so I was happy about that. Yeah, so the weird thing was, on that traveling day, I was on my period. I was on the second day of my period, in the second month that I was taking birth control pills again. I'm taking birth control pills again because of hormone imbalances. Here is a video about back at the hospital. Yeah, so I actually wrote in my notes that, yeah, I hope I'll have more traveling days while I'm on my period, and I never thought I would ever say that. But now it actually changed again to more of a normal thing, I would say. So now when I'm on my period, I feel worse than when I'm not on my period. But then I felt so much better while I was on my period. Yeah. Stay happy, stay healthy. Bye.